So, what can GraphQL do? Well, in the previous video, we said it's a query language for your API.
But not just any old API. If we send in a GraphQL query that looks like this, a REST API won't know what to do with it.
That's right. A REST API expects get, post, put, and delete operations on specific resources. So continuing with our vacation destination theme, a REST API could handle a request to get a place, post a review for a place, make a booking change on a place, or even delete a place.
But to handle a GraphQL query like this, we need a special kind of API.
Yeah, a GraphQL API that supports three types of operations. Queries fetch data, mutations change data, be it creating, updating, or deleting data, and subscriptions deliver near real-time data updates.
But perhaps the best way to understand what GraphQL can do is to see it in action. So let's look at some examples.
This is Graphical, which is just a handy way to interact with a GraphQL API from the comfort of your browser. So if we want to fetch all vacation places, we would use a query like this. This says that the operation type is a query, and we want to query all places, and for each place we want to get the ID, name, location, and description. So then we just hit the run button, and we get back exactly what we asked for. We've got an array of places, so that matches that, and then notice that there's a JavaScript object here that has name, location, ID, description, which is the same thing we have over here.
That's right, the result is the same shape or structure as the query itself. Now, query fields can take arguments. For example, if we want to see the first two places.
So in the places field, we'll pass in the argument limit, and you notice that it suggests an auto-completion of limit because Graphical can automatically introspect the GraphQL API and it knows what's possible. In fact, it's saying limit takes an int, so we want a limit of 2. And no surprise, we get back 2 places.
Cool. Well, let's also query for places that match on Castle.
Yeah, to do that, we can just pop in a second argument here. It's called matching, and then we want it to match anything with castle. Hit run, and it looks like we've got 2 castles, the sand castle and the fairy tale castle.
Now we know that GraphQL can fetch related resources with just one query. So let's get the bookings for the sand castle.
Well, we know that the sand castle has an ID of 1, so we'll just need to change this query around. Instead of passing in limit and matching, we'll pass in ID of 1, and then the query isn't places, it's just place, because we want to get just that place. And then we also want the bookings for that place, so we'll add bookings. And for each booking, we want the start date, the end date, and also the state of the booking. And we hit run on that one, and we see we've got a bookings array, and it just has 1 booking.
Let's create another booking. Now to do that, we're going to use a mutation.
Yeah, instead of it saying query up here, it says mutation. That's the type of the operation we want the API to perform. It's called create booking. That's the name of the field, and the field takes 3 arguments: the place we want to book to, and the start and the end date. And when that booking gets created, well, we want to get these 4 fields from the booking. We hit play. Well, we get back the booking. It's under create booking. Those are the fields of the booking, and notice that it's reserved.
And now if we go back in history to the place query and rerun it, we see it has 2 bookings. Now let's say we want to get notified in near real time whenever there's a change for bookings on the sandcastle. And that's where subscriptions come in.
This time it's a subscription operation, and it subscribes to any booking change events, and it takes the ID of the place that we're interested in. And whenever there's a booking change that triggers this subscription, well, we want back these 3 fields of the booking, as well as the email of the associated user, the user that's associated with that booking. Now, if we go ahead and hit play on this one, well, we don't get any immediate result back, but instead this message, your subscription data will appear here after server publication.
Which is really just another way of saying that the server has accepted the subscription and will hold on to it waiting for any booking changes. Now to trigger the subscription, we need to create a booking. But instead of doing that here, we happen to have a web application that's talking to the same GraphQL API.
Well, the subscription is for any booking changes at the place with an ID of 1, which happens to be the sand castle. And let's go ahead and book some dates for it. Let's go with March 10th through the 16th. Now what's going to happen is when I push this button to book these dates, the web app will send a mutation to create the booking, just like we did over here in Graphical. The mutation's right here. It's called create booking, takes the place, start and end date. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen when we push this button, except it's going to get sent from the web app.
And that mutation will trigger the event this subscription has been waiting for. So let's push the button. And now we're delivered the results we asked for. We have information about the new booking and who booked it.
Now our subscription is for all booking changes. So if we go over here under My Bookings and we cancel this booking, well, we get new data from the subscription and we notice that the booking is now canceled.
Pretty cool. So how do you know what queries, mutations, and subscriptions a GraphQL API supports? Like, do you have to guess? Like, could I ask for the weather of this place?
Well, that depends on the schema, and that's a topic for another day. So we'll see you next time.